So now that 2021 has come to an end, it's time to recap and revisit all of the products I talked about on the channel. So basically with this video, what I like to do, I started it last year and I thought it was a pretty good idea. Basically, I'll go back, every product that I reviewed on the channel, I'll go back and revisit it. So I'll give you my last and final verdict about it, if anything's changed since I made the review, and just talk about it one last time at the end of 2021 / going into 2022. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So some of the first few things I started to cover was the whole S21 series event. So that included a bunch of different products. So one of the first few things was the wireless charger trio. So this is awesome. I use this every day. It's honestly such a great convenient item that I definitely recommend it for anyone who has a bunch of items that they need to charge. So this is specifically made by Samsung. So it uses a 25-watt charger to be able to power it. You got two items here that you can charge. So it can be a combination of earbuds, a combination of a phone, two phones, earbuds, two earbuds, so on and so forth. You also have a charger for your watch. So this is specifically made for Samsung watches. So if you have like an Apple Watch or some other Android watch, unfortunately, unless it's compatible, I'm not entirely sure what watches are called compatible. I just know that the Samsung watches are all compatible on here. So it's very convenient because it gets rid of that extra clutterness. You don't have to have a separate wireless charger. You don't have to have its own charger for the watch. You can just combine it all into three. So all the essentials, your earbuds, your phone, and your watch are all covered with this wireless charger. Now it's not the fastest. I believe it caps out at 9 watts of fast charging. So if your phone is capable of 9 watts of fast charging, you can do it, but even then it's like 2 hours, depending on the phone and the capacity of the phone's battery, it could take well over 2 hours. So yeah, I use this overnight. It's nice and simple. You just plop your phone on and you'll be able to charge pretty much any device that has compatible wireless charging. I will say that sometimes you have to be a little picky when you slap stuff on here, but for the most part, it's pretty easy just to slap stuff on. But again, depends on the product. Earbuds are a little bit more annoying because you have to be a little more careful where you're placing them. Otherwise, no big deal. So yeah, otherwise I really like this product. Definitely still recommend it going into 2022. So yeah, it's a good wireless charger, a trio wireless charger. So the next product was the Spen Case by Samsung. It's the silicone version. It's not that great. The case itself is pretty garbage, I will say. It's a silicone touch, so it's comfortable, it's soft, but it's super dirty. You get so much lint stuck on this, and you also get those greasy fingerprints on here. So it's really not that pretty to look at. And also, it already ripped on me, so there's a little corner here that already chipped off, so I stopped using it. So I had to replace it with the S Pen speaking case, which was much better. I definitely like this a lot better. The only downside, of course, is that you don't get the S Pen included, so you have to either buy the S Pen case or just the S Pen itself, and then get this case to replace this case. But I will say, like, it's just a garbage case. This is so much better. This combination with this S Pen is much better. And now the S21 Ultra. So unfortunately, I don't have the device anymore. If you don't already know, I traded it in for the Z Fold 3. I don't 100% regret it, but I miss it. I miss the S21 Ultra. I will say it was a solid phone when I had it. And now with the future updates with One UI 4.0, not entirely sure if there's any bugs or anything like that, but when I had it, it was a great phone. The cameras were just phenomenal. Honestly, you got probably the best cameras. For when it came out, it was a solid package. And throughout the whole year, as other phones were coming out, it was like it was honestly like nothing could beat it, or if anything, just smartphones weren't really competing with it. It was like the same level throughout the whole year with all these phones. Like honestly, this S21 Ultra, even right now, today, if you were to buy it right now at the start of 2022, even with the S21 Ultra 22 or S22 Ultra coming out soon, like I would say it's still a great buy, and you'll probably be able to get it at an even cheaper price than it was at the, I believe, $1,200 price point that it was when it came out. I bought it. It was a great phone. I was actually a little skeptical when I bought it. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I loved it. I loved it. It grew on me 100%. I loved it. And when I traded it in, I had an instant regret like that first week. Not because I didn't like the Z Fold 3, but because S21 Ultra was just such a solid phone. Anything that you wanted in any big phone, you got in the S21 Ultra. You got S Pen support. You got that great display. You got great cameras. Pretty decent battery life. And then overall, just a great device. And honestly, it was a gorgeous device. The design was on par. It was perfect in my opinion. So yeah, overall, S21 Ultra was a great device, and it still is today. If I had it right now, I would be praising it like crazy. I'm even praising it without even having it, but I loved it, and I'm glad I traded it in at the same time because, being able to experience a foldable device, which we'll get into a little bit later. I'm talking about the Z Fold 3 again, but yeah, honestly, S21 Ultra was a great device. I will say, if you 100% need a new phone right now, I would get it. But if you you're debating it and you have time, I would wait to see what the S22 Ultra, I keep saying S21 Ultra, but S22 Ultra, what that would bring out. Like what kind of features they changed. If maybe it's supposed to be, according to the rumors, it's like a Note-like device. So maybe you like that, maybe you don't. So if you need that S Pen and like the S Pen inside the device versus having to carry it in the case, maybe this one Ultra would be better. So if you're not in a rush, I would 100% just wait and see, because it should be announced in like February, I think. But if you need a phone right now and you want Samsung, 100% get S21 Ultra. So the next one here is the Galaxy Buds Pro. I'll be 100% honest, I've stopped using these since like the summer. I stopped using them. I got the Sony WF-1000XM4s, which we'll talk about later, and I also got the Galaxy Buds 2, which I've been using more. I gave these to my younger sister just because I didn't really use them, and the reason I gave them away was because they didn't really fit me when I had them. So every time I used them, they just slipped out really easily, more than the Galaxy Buds 2, more than the Sonys. Like honestly, this was not the worst fitting, but it just wasn't the right fit for my ear. I don't know why. It just wasn't staying in. I tried different tips and it just wasn't staying in. The quality though was good. I definitely liked the sound quality. It was pretty good for what you were getting. It wasn't pro level, I would say, but it was still decently sounding. The bass was good enough. Battery life was pretty good as well. It wasn't anything amazing, but it was also good enough for like, you know, car trips, trips on the bus, you know, small trips here and there, or running, exercising, stuff like that. This was good, but the only issue with that, of course, was the fit. Just because for me, it was constantly slipping out. I think one particular side was always slipping out, so that was the annoying part. But otherwise, I definitely like that. I also like the features, like the additional features where you could switch to devices easily. So with your Samsung account, logging into your Samsung account on your tablet and then on your phone. If you had a Samsung phone, it was easy to switch between them. It was really nice. It was almost like that Apple seamless switch, which was awesome. I really like that. But overall, I would say the Galaxy Buds Pro, for me personally, if they don't fit you, it's going to be a downfall. But if they do fit you, you're going to really like them. So for me, they didn't fit me, so I didn't really like them. So next was the Sony WF-1000XM4s. While I love the sound quality of these, there's still a lot of things that I hate about it. So yeah, these sound amazing. The bass, everything, the highs, the lows, they sound fantastic. As long as you have the right the right foam tips. As long as you have that all functioning, working fine, you put it in correctly, it's gonna sound fantastic. Noise canceling is amazing. It's fantastic. It's the best I've ever heard on any pair of earbuds. But there are issues as well. So those foam tips, they wear off, they start to rip, they start to break over time. The original pair that came on, the medium size, the one ear tip, both ear tips actually just completely like opened up on itself and it just like ripped, and yeah, it was bad. And so I would keep that in mind. The foam tips, of course, any kind of foam tips, no matter which one you get, even the ones included, are going to break over time. So you have to make sure to keep them in mind, so you have to replace it. And then the second issue I had, the touch controls. Garbage sometimes. So whenever you are running around or running and you start to get sweaty, you get sweaty hands, you get wet hands, and you start to use them, you're going to cause either the Google Assistant to stay and get stuck, or you're going to accidentally press and pause and play, and what the heck, you know, it's just a whole annoyance. It's so annoying sometimes. The touch controls just can be a pain in the ass. So I hate it, but sometimes they're usable. But again, I've always hated touch controls. They're always so annoying. They're like always a love-hate relationship. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And when they don't work, it's really, really frustrating. A new issue that I just discovered a couple of days ago, I don't know what happened, but I was just using them to run. You know, I love using these to run. For some reason, the right earbud is now much, much quieter than the left earbud. I honestly don't even know what happened. I checked everything in the settings. I turned them off. I turned them on. I tried to change the, what's it called, the equalizer. I tried everything. I even looked on my phone settings to see if I accidentally adjusted like the stereo thing where one's on the left or it's too far to the right or too far to the left or whatever. I couldn't figure it out, and it's odd. I don't know what happened. So right now, my current right earbud is much quieter than the left one, which is kind of bothering me because everything is like, I can hear everything on my left side, but not on my right side. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stop using these for now. So right now, I'm using the next device that I'm gonna be talking about, which is the Galaxy Buds 2. And honestly, these are pretty cool. These are honestly probably one of my favorite ones just because they actually fit me. They fit really well in my ears. Again, with sweat, with water, with wetness, they'll eventually start to slip out, but it wasn't as a dramatic like slip out or a quick fall out of the ear real quick as the Buds Pro were. But overall, the quality is not as, I would say, well, the quality is pretty good. The quality is good, but it's not as bassy as the Buds Pro were, but still pretty good enough in my opinion. I think it's a solid package, and you also have the seamless connection, but it's not as good. I don't know why. I've tried resetting it multiple times. I've tried reconnecting them, but for some reason, the seamless connection was not as seamless compared to the Buds Pro. The Buds Pro was like instant like that, but the Buds 2, over time for some reason, the connection was not as seamless. So I have to go into Bluetooth every time and make sure I select the Buds 2 when I'm using my tablet or when I'm using my phone, which is a little bit annoying. But then the next pair of earbuds, the ones that were kind of underwhelming, they weren't that great, they're very simple, the definition of simple is what I call the review, which is, I still stand by that. The Pixel Buds A series. These, they're okay. I use these for my computer, so whenever I'm like on a voice call or a Zoom call or for class, or if I'm just editing, I use these. Like if I'm just, they're not that great. They're not that great sounding. They don't have any kind of noise canceling. For the price, I guess I get it, but at the same time, I kind of want a little bit more. There's no wireless charging, which I'm not a super huge fan of. The USB-C is the only thing you have to charge, but otherwise, they're okay. They're simple. You know, the wingtips, I do like that. They definitely do stay in my ear. These do fit, but it's just the fact they don't have noise canceling or don't have the craziest sound. Now, with an update, you are able to make it a little bit more bassier, which is good, but still, even then, having no noise canceling is a little bit of a downfall for me, because everything else I use has noise canceling, so I'm kind of like spoiled with that. But yeah, otherwise, if you just need simple earbuds, then these are great. But if you want noise canceling and a little bit more better just sound quality, I 100% look at the Buds 2 or definitely the Sonys. But they all come with different issues as well. But yeah, otherwise, that's it for earbuds right now. That's it for all the earbuds I covered this year. If I had to pick one of them, I would still pick the Sonys, even though I just uncovered that new issue. Hopefully I can get that fixed, but if I had to choose one, 100% would go for the Sonys. It's definitely worth the extra like $100 you're spending compared to like the Buds 2 or the Pixel A series here. 100% would recommend them. But if I had to choose like a budget version, I would definitely say either the Buds Pro, because right now they're probably cheap, or not super cheap, but like, you know, at a lower price than they were when they came out, or the Buds 2. So if the Buds Pro fit, Buds Pro. But if they don't fit, the Buds 2 is still a great earbud. But otherwise, that's it for earbuds that I covered this year. The next thing I covered this year was the Zephyrus G14 with the 3060 from 2021. So this honestly has been a great laptop. I will be honest, I don't use it as much as I expected it to, or I wanted to, because I'm still at home most of the time, so I use my desktop back here. But I've been trying to use it a little bit more often, and honestly, it's still a great performing laptop. Honestly, it's amazing. So the main uses I use it for is either just browsing or video editing. I don't do a lot of gaming on here just because I'm much better just playing on my desktop since I'm home. I better use the big screen. You can use an HDMI cord or a USB-C to HDMI to be able to connect this to an external display, but it's much easier just to turn my computer on and use my desktop. But it's still good to have this as a backup in case something goes wrong with this. But with that RTX 3060, it's still great for video editing. On the battery, you will get a little bit slow performance just because, you know, you're not using the full wattage of the GPU and of the CPU. But yeah, otherwise, when you're plugged in, you're going to get great performance. Honestly, it's pretty much on par with what I'm doing on my desktop. And my desktop is pretty old, so I have like a GTX 1070 Ti. It's performing pretty well, and comparing pretty much the same, if not maybe this is a little bit better on the RTX 3060. But one of the things that I want to cover that I was not saying it was great on my review was the battery life. So originally it's because I had it on performance mode on everything, and eventually I learned that you had to have it on silent mode to be able to get decent battery life when you're on the battery. And now I get like 8 hours, 6 out, maybe like 4 hours if I'm like doing video editing, or maybe less than that. But if I'm doing simple tasks, I want to get anything from 8 hours to maybe even 10 hours of battery life. So if you're just doing simple tasks, Word documents, browsing around the internet, using internet or what's it called, browser stuff, you're going to be doing just fine as far as battery life, and it's going to perform just fine. The screen is also really nice. You have an IPS display, 144 Hz, only 1080p, but for the size of the display being a 14-inch, it's still really good. I will say though, just keep in mind, you don't have a camera, so this has no webcam, so if you need that for school, for work, etc., you have to buy an external one or just have to deal with the fact that you don't have a camera. The keyboard overall, in my opinion, is still really, really nice. It's still super comfortable, even for a small keyboard because it's a small computer. It's still super comfortable to use. The backlighting, not the greatest. I do wish it was a little bit better, but I don't really use the backlighting as much, so no big deal. And since I upgraded to Windows 11, I did uncover or discover that the fingerprint sensor hasn't been working as well. I had to reset them up on here, and even then it still doesn't really work. Occasionally it will work, but it's like 10%. Honestly, it's that bad that only 10% of the time it works. I would 100% be more pissed off, but I don't use it as often, so it's not a huge deal. But if you're going to be using this as your primary thing for everything, your primary computer for home, for work, for everything, for traveling, that would be something to consider. I'll have to reset them up and see if that fixes it. But even then, because I only had one finger set up when I switched over to Windows 11, and then I set up the rest of them, and it didn't do anything. So I'll have to reset them up again to see if that makes a difference. But yeah, otherwise Windows 11 on here has been running just fine. As far as like if I'm a fan of Windows 11, I will say kind of. I mean, it doesn't seem super crazy different. It does look a little bit aesthetically more pleasing. It looks a little bit more rounded. It looks a little bit more, you know, modern. But otherwise, it's very similar to Windows 10. It's just the different UI elements that look different. But otherwise, overall, the Zephyrus G14 is still a great laptop. And I paid like almost $1,500 for this. I've seen it as low as like $1,100, $1,200 right now. So if you can get your hands on it for that price, 100%. Oh, and one thing I want to mention is the ports, man. I love the ability to have so many ports here. It's honestly fantastic. You got USB-C, you got HDMI, you got a bunch of USB-A, so you have so many different things. I use one adapter, which is just for the SD card. That way I can transfer files and videos and whatnot from my camera. But overall, I think this is a great laptop right now. So next device I covered was a Z Fold 3. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, as much as I love this phone, I didn't use it daily since I bought it. So as you can probably just look at my channel real quick and notice that I switched over to the Pixel 6 series at some point in November. So yeah, I did switch over to the Pixel 6 series at some point. I did use this from the day it came out in August all the way down to late October, late October. So yeah, I used it for a while, and when I was using it, the things I talked about in my review are still accurate right now, which is battery life is still not the greatest, and the cameras, they're good. They're just not the best you can get on any smartphone. But overall, I love using this. I still use it every day. Honestly, I use it every day, even though I don't use it as my daily smartphone. So some of the things that I love about this is that flex mode, just being able to flex it into like a kickstand. So this is great for when I use this every day when I take a shower. So I prop this up in one of the corners and I could watch a video. I'm too scared to prop it up full. I used to do that, but then one day it fell, so I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna have it folded like this. So it's actually really nice because then you can just have it as its own kickstand. I also love being able to switch between it and using it as a big screen. I just love having a mini tablet. I don't always need to use my giant Tab S7. Sometimes I need to use something, you know, bigger than a smartphone, but not too big that it's not one-handable or something like that. So this is a great happy medium. I still think the display is fantastic, great for watching videos. I use it all the time for watching videos. That crease, I honestly, if this is bothering you, then you are very, very picky, my friend. But otherwise, the under display camera also, I'm pretty sure every person that I've let like borrow this, look at it and look around, and use it, they probably didn't even realize there was an under display camera because all they focused on was the crease and the fact that it folded. They were just like looking at it, folding it, like, whoa, how's that fold? Like, it's crazy. I took this to a Christmas party the one day and they were just like, how the hell does that fold? I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, the under display camera, I'm pretty sure no one noticed, which is a great thing. It goes to show how easy it is to overlook and just forget that there's an under display camera there. But the front, I will say, it's still very awkward. It's still very weird. It's hard to get used to. Every time I go from my Pixel 6 Pro to this, it's just a little bit weird. I try not to use it like this as much. I always usually just use it opened up because it's a bigger display and it's like a mini tablet. So, but overall, it's still pretty good. As far as also the usability, durability, I've had a couple scuffs going on here. So the small scuffs throughout the edges of the phone, on the hinge, on the sides, small use or small visibility of use somewhere, and what's it called, durability, wearability, whatever the hell it's called. You know, obviously it looks a little bit used, but it's all right. You know, it's still a great device, and I will be switching to it every once in a while. I won't be using it as my daily just because I'm still a little bit too scared to take this out and accidentally drop it. It's an expensive phone. It's you know, it's crazy. I don't want to ruin it that quick yet. That's why I got the Pixel 6 series, so I can get like a backup phone in case something would happen. So yeah, this is still a pretty cool device, and it's, again, still a niche thing. If you know you need the big screen, 100% would say consider it. But if you just need a good slab phone, S21 Ultra or the Pixel 6 series is an option there. But yeah, this is still cool. The technology in this, it's phenomenal. Every day I'm always using it, and it just being able to open it up and knowing that I have it, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And it's, like I said, it's a head turner. People always want to take a look at it, so it's awesome. So the next device I covered was the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. This is my daily watch. It's the only watch I have, so of course I'm stuck using it daily. And overall, it's been a good watch. Coming from the Watch 3 Classic though, it wasn't a really big upgrade. I still to this day, I feel like if I had the Watch 3 and the Watch 4 on the same watch, I couldn't be able to tell the difference. I would say they're the exact same watch because they're very similar. It's just small little differences that came when upgrading from the Watch 3 to the Watch 4. So one of those was the body composition. So if you're into fitness and into being healthy, not that really. So I really didn't take advantage of that stuff. So if you're healthy and you're into that kind of stuff, you 100% would love the Watch 4 and Watch 4 Classic. I will say that this is the 46mm, so it's a little bit bigger than like the classic Watch 4, and the bezel is the reason why. Because that bezel, in my opinion, is the best way to navigate this watch. I actually got some Watch 4s for my family, and setting them up for them, it's very weird. It's very awkward using that Watch 4 because I'm so used to having the bezels. So I feel like I couldn't be able to go to a Watch 4 or any kind of watch that has no bezel because I'm so used to just using the bezel to navigate around on the screen. And using this as my daily driver, honestly, I've had a decent experience. Only issue I think I would say I possibly had was just the battery life. It may not be the best battery life you can get on any smartwatch, but it's definitely an all-day battery life for the most part. Now, I don't use an always-on display, so that's one thing that doesn't drain during the day. But my charging habits, I usually charge a little bit at night when I'm sitting at my desk, and in the morning when I shower. But otherwise, battery life has been decent for me. It hasn't run out on me before. It haven't had a major issue yet. But yeah, that's something just to keep in mind, just in case you need like a lot of battery life on your watch. Like, you know, you're going to be using it at a point where you don't have time to charge it. But yeah, something to keep in mind. But overall performance has been pretty good. The usability with Watch 4, what's it called, One UI mixed in with the Wear OS. It's pretty good. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to notice the difference between the Watch 3 software to the Watch 4 software. Just small little differences here and there. But to me, Watch 4 software, pretty good. It's pretty easy to navigate. It's pretty simple. If you used the smart Samsung watch before, you'll be right at home if you use this, if you get this as an upgrade. Yeah, overall though, it's pretty good. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who has like a Pixel series phone or a Samsung series phone, because this is a great companion to a smartphone. Honestly, best thing to have because you can get all your notifications on here or your calls on here and never miss one of those things ever again. So yeah, overall, it's a great smartwatch. So the last product we covered was the Pixel 6, and overall, it's still a really good phone. Now, personally, I don't have the phone on me anymore. I have the Pixel 6 Pro series, but the Pixel 6 I gifted to my father, so I'll be able to use it every once in a while when I'm around him. But the Pixel 6 overall, when I had it, was such a great phone. Honestly, the software, even though it had some bugs, it was specific niche bugs. He personally has not encountered any kind of bugs because he wasn't trying to fly his drone. He doesn't have a drone. He wasn't trying to multitask. He's not a multitasking beast, not like me. So basically, all the specific niche bugs will only happen if you have like specific tasks you have to complete. He personally does not have to do that, so he won't be having those issues. For me, I'm always doing a lot of stuff on my phone, multitasking, trying to fly my drone. I did fix that, so that you have to download the actual app from from the DJI website. But other small weird things where the music will still keep playing even after you close the app or something like that, it will still happen. Again, it will be fixed with future updates. The update is yet still to come. That's actually why I'm waiting on doing the Pixel 6 Pro review, because I want to wait for that update to see if it's improved anything. But otherwise, it hasn't come in yet. But again, they're supposed to be fixed with a future update. More bugs are apparently coming with the future updates, but hopefully, eventually, the software will be fixed. But hardware-wise, the phone itself was gorgeous. It's a great phone. It's a good-looking phone. The dual camera setup on the back is fantastic with the visor. The colorway, in my opinion, was a fantastic colorway. I really wish that colorway existed for the Pixel 6 Pro series, but it's all right because I covered the 6 Pro with a skin. Just overall, the usability, the handability, the flat display. Oh my God, fantastic display. For what you're paying, it's a great display. And he's coming from a 1080p 60Hz display, the A51 from Samsung, to a Pixel 6 with 90Hz. He probably doesn't even notice the difference, but to me, it's much, much, much better. The display is fantastic. Yeah, and the fact that it's flat, it's perfectly fine too. I think it's a great fact that it's flat and it's 1080p/90Hz. Great display overall. Overall, it's a great phone. The battery life when I had it was pretty good as well. I wasn't a super heavy user, so it wasn't really draining the battery all day. If anything, you would probably take it last until probably a little bit closer to your bedtime and you'll have to plug in. But otherwise, battery life has been great. He's had a good experience as well. He doesn't use his phone heavily either. So overall, he's had a good experience. Overall though, the Pixel 6 series, in my opinion, is a good option to choose. But that's basically it for this year. That's all the devices that we covered this year. I know it's not a ton, and it's not a ton for me either. One, I can't afford to buy a ton of stuff. I'm trying to keep things very simple so that I'm not constantly switching either smartphones or constantly switching watches. I'm trying to stay consistent, trying to stay like, I don't know, as realistic as possible. So yeah, but otherwise, that's all the stuff that I covered. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and got something out of this. Hopefully you guys have a good new year, enjoy your new year, and had a good year last year as well. If you had a bad year, that sucks for you, man. I don't know what to tell you, but chin up maybe, I don't know. But yeah, hope you guys have a good new year and enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. Never thought I would be at that point. Last year at this point, we're at like 100 subscribers, I think. 100. Wow. I am just lost for words. Just crazy. You guys are some crazy motherfuckers. But that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.